So I'm just sitting in my office here with Tilly, one of our Year 6 students here at Sacred Heart, and Tilly loves coding, so she's very happy to tell us a little bit about how much she enjoys it and share some of the work that she's been doing. So over to you, Tilly.
So things like coding I love because you can just use your imagination. I've done so many things and the possibilities are really endless. So you can look at other people's ones on the home screen, and so I'm actually on hopscotch, and so I have just made a scoring sort of code on one of my sort of apps on hopscotch. So basically I've made it so when you tap the little arrow, you have to, once you have tapped one of the birds, once you collide with one of the birds, then you go back to the start. So the snail has got 1 point because it touched the apple, and then it'll change. And then I've made a heap of different things. You can make mazes, and you can make things like concerts and things where you can do little dances, and you can actually also make noises. And really, how you start it off is I like to start it with a blank project. You can use one of the characters that are already set, or you can use text, or I like to use emojis. So you can use any of them. So let's just use the pig as an example. And so really, there are a lot of sort of when. So when this is bigger than that, or when blank is smaller than blank. So I will just start it off by when the pig is tapped. So then it'll have like that when the pig is tapped. So it will have a list of all the things that you have. So what I'm going to do is when the pig is tapped, it will grow. And then you can also edit that. So I'm making it 300%. And there are really many things to do. So you can make it repeat forever, wait, create a clone, check if else, check once if. So really check once if that happens. So it gets, once you get in the flow of it, it gets easier. But I just love coding because you can really just do anything and you can get really stuck into it. So then once you press play, you can really just do a lot of things with it. And one of my personal favourite apps that I have made is Tapper. So this was actually using a tutorial that they use. And so what mine is, once you have gotten to 50, there are a lot of other things that you could do. Mine's just starting off, but I could do many things. Then once you tap it, it will go up in 2s. So really it's just sort of like the app Cookie Tapper or things like that. So then I've also made one that is so sort of like a farm. So it starts off like that, where you've got all the animals in it, and then you tap that, and then they all go. And so basically I'm going to make it so they all spread it across, and then you'll be able to clean them and maintain their food and things. And I've made a heap, as you can see, but it's just really awesome what you can do with it. So you can do things like moving it across and jumping, and then so mine's sort of like a story in this one, and so it's just really the possibilities are endless. And I love hopscotch. You can also get other apps like other coding apps really, and there are so many different coding apps. And so I've used a lot of the tutorials just to help me a little bit with how to do it. So there's a loading screen here. So once that's happened, so this basically, it was starting at here and drawing a spiral. So it was loading, and then once that had finished, it said done. And then You can also look at other people's things, and they can be really awesome sometimes, and you're like, oh wow. But then what you can also do, so it also has facts as things load, and then you say see code, and then you can really just tap at anything. And then, so what you want to do is, if you make a change, then once you press back, it will say save. And if you want to actually save it, what I've done is I've saved a couple of them. And basically, this is one of them. And this one is actually really, really good. And so once you press start game, whoever gets to the number 30 loses. So I'll just play a little example of it. So I'll just keep doing in threes. So you can see that would have taken a very long time to do.
Very good, Tilly. Well, thank you for that. I can see you really love this stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I do, because once I start, I just want to keep going and making it better and better and better. And then once I get to the best, you can always just make another.
Very good. Lovely to hear you talking,
Thank
sharing
you.
your enthusiasm and your love for coding. Thank you, Tilly.